Good evening, COMS 622. My name is Yolanda Goff, and I decided to do my presentation on motivation. I named my slides Motivated to Motivate. Now, a common aspect in the workplace and in life is motivation. Next slide. Motivation can be a steering mechanism for why people choose certain careers in life and is a driving force why people have the desire to succeed or why they make some of the decisions that they make. Motivation can be used as a positive force to do well or as a negative force to cut corners. The slide on this presentation slide to the left, it says the difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. And that's what motivation is all about. And what you have to do to get what you want may not be pretty or may not come easy. And to the right of that saying is two drill sergeants hollering at a soldier. And I use this picture because I remember when I was in the military, in basic training as a matter of fact, we had to go to the gas chamber. And I did not want to go to the gas chamber. I was not ready for the gas chamber, didn't want to be there. I didn't care who else wanted to go. It wasn't my thing. And I remember clearly drill sergeants, you could see the demeanor of us who didn't want to go to the gas chamber, and they would holler out, false motivation is better than no motivation at all, private. So basically that meant that it didn't matter if I didn't feel like going or wasn't motivated to go, we're going. So I might as well be motivated to go. This concept almost applies still in the civilian workplace. The manager has this concept that they have to figure out how to get the employee to do what they want the manager to do without minimum trouble from the employee. Next slide. The definition of motivation is a set of forces that leads people to behave in particular ways. The basis of motivation is the need or the desire of an individual and how important that need or desire is. Once there is a deficiency in the need, the individual will search for ways to satisfy that need or desire before they'll move on to the next desire. Next slide. So Abraham Maslow created the hierarchy of needs, and it's often displayed as a pyramid with 5 categories. The physiological needs and the security needs are the basic needs of an individual. That's your air, your food, your water. Then there's the safety needs, which is adequate housing and clothing. Then you have the belongingness need, and that's to be loved or to feel loved. And the esteem needs represents a person's psychological needs and how they feel about themselves. And at the very top of that pyramid, you have the self-actualization needs, which represent what a person is fully capable of. Next slide. So in the business aspect, you could take the same 5 needs that Maslow created and apply it to the employee. The physiological needs is that basic salary or the comfortable working conditions. The safety needs is, am I going to be laid off or will there be a riff? Do I have adequate benefits? The safety needs represent work relationships and team building and group relationships. Then you have the esteem needs, which usually represent the job status or the title of the employee. Now, the self-actualization need is always not easily recognized. A person may or may not realize their full potential or what they're really capable of, even if they're working at the highest level, if they have the highest position of that job. So this would explain why some people at a high position with high paying, a high paying job will take a more fulfilling, less paying job. There are a lot of need theories and there's a lot of motivation theories. However, I focused on 2 motivation theories as it pertains to the employee and the workplace, and that was the intrinsic motivated and the extrinsic motivated. Intrinsic and extrinsic. Next slide. So extrinsic motivation is behavior that's driven by external factors from the outside, such as money and reward. Some organizations believe that is the only way to motivate an employee is by an extrinsic motivator. So they will offer incentive pay, bonuses, and salary increases. On my job recently, we offered extrinsic motivators to help retain employees because, at my particular job, they felt like they weren't being as paid as the employees that did the same position in bigger cities. And there's other factors that involve that, but still we offered an extrinsic an extrinsic motivator to keep these employees to stay with our company. Next slide. Extrinsic motivation can be learned as adolescents. As parents, we offer our children, and I do this all the time, I need you to clean your room, or I need you to clean the house, and if you do so, I'm going to give you allowance. Or if you do really well in school and you don't get any behavioral marks, then I'm going to take you for ice cream at the end of the week. These are extrinsic motivators. So we're teaching our young kids at an early age how to be motivated by rewards. Next slide. Intrinsic motivation is motivation that comes from within a person, and it normally can offer a lasting satisfaction, or it does normally offer lasting satisfaction. It's driven by an interest or the enjoyment of the task itself. And in my paper, I used a reference to the NFL. I used Tim Tebow, as a matter of fact. When he went into the NFL, he went to the Denver Broncos. He had played quarterback his entire collegiate career. Okay, and he was a pretty good quarterback. When he went to the NFL, the team that took him on said, hey, we're not going to use you as a quarterback, we're going to use you as a tight end. Well, right then and there, Tim Tebow was saying, I'm a quarterback. Hey, this is what I love to do. I love to quarterback. And because I can't quarterback, then I'm not going to play in the NFL. It can be assumed sometimes that money and rewards drive the hearts of people, and it's the reason why people choose certain careers or even go to work at all. But every now and again, that's not the case. And examples for that would be the educator. Everybody knows that education, or educators, especially at the secondary level and the primary level, they don't get paid as well. You have volunteer firefighters in the community that actually run towards the fire for free, basically. They do it for the enjoyment of serving their community. So there are jobs out there that are for the intrinsic motivated person. Next slide. So, performance in the workplace. For organizations to become successful, it must rely on the performance of its employees. In order for employees to perform well, they must satisfy the three components of performance, which is motivation times the ability times the environment. If they have a deficiency in the ability or the environment, the organization or the manager can find ways to satisfy that needs. But sometimes for motivation, it's difficult for organizations or managers to find what actually motivates an individual. The three components of motivation are competence, and that's reached when an employee believes that they're capable; control, the freedom or the autonomy to do everything necessary to obtain the goal. Relatedness is the basic need to care about or to be cared about others in the workplace, or to be cared about by others in the workplace. Next slide. Some of the strategies that can boost motivation and morale and potentially help optimize positivity would include being kind, being compassionate, treating others with respect, practicing forgiveness, and actively helping out other team members. The engagement needs to be visible. It needs to be a visible strategy within the organization, and learning what motivates an employee can help with that concept. Companies should pay their employees definitely what they're worth, so they're not focused on the money, they're focused on obtaining the mission and the goal of the organization. So in my conclusion, everything that drives a person can be explained by theories of their motivation. Once a person has satisfied their basic needs, then they'll move on to satisfy the next need. In the workplace, companies are still offering extrinsic motivation. However, if they would just be able to find ways to intrinsically motivate their employees, then it could mean a greater overall success rate for that company or that organization. Again, thank you for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and we'll see you next time.